A recent major case points directly to the only brothel in Spring Blossom Pavilion, U-Town. The deceased in this case, known as May but goes by the stage name Mia, was a celebrity in Spring Blossom Pavilion. Just yesterday, she suddenly hanged herself. At the same time, she was holding a ghost country copper coin in her hand. When Truman arrived, the Spring Blossom Pavilion instantly exploded with excitement. The girls inside swarmed around him, looking infatuated. Truman himself did not expect such a situation, caught off guard and unprepared. The girls just want to give Truman a loving hug as soon as they see him. Truman is mine. None of you should try to steal him away from me. Little Tao's sister will serve you for free tonight. Truman is so handsome. You should be accompanied by 2 sisters. At this moment, a voice came in. What's up? You look like you've never seen a man before. Who is this person? I thought we had already investigated and figured out everything about Annie Mia, also known as the female boss of Spring Blossom Pavilion. Why did she bring such a handsome man along? Luna replied, The case has already been closed and determined. We are here this time to perform the rite of deliverance for Miss Mia. Please take us to her room for a detailed discussion. All right. Please follow me. Truman followed Annie slowly up the stairs like this. Miss Mia's death is suspicious. We speculate. It is very likely that she turned into a vengeful spirit after her death. This shocked the female boss. How is this possible? Should she still run her business? Mia has not suffered any grievances in her daily life. Where did such a big grudge come from? This is the key issue. Just as Truman headed towards Mia's room, the 2 little girls behind him were infatuated again. That damn charm of Truman's is irresistible. The girls seemed to have taken a liking to that little Taoist. But judging from what they said, Mia's matter is not simple at all. The guests are getting impatient. They walked through the long corridor and finally arrived at Mia's room. Inside, the furnishings were very simple. Female boss brought Mia's personal maid Elsie over, and upon seeing Luna, Elsie respectfully greeted her. We speculate that after Mia's death, she would become a vengeful spirit. Do you know who she had grievances with in her lifetime, or whom she may want to seek revenge on? When this was mentioned, it completely scared the maid. A vengeful spirit, how is that possible? Even though she had poor relationships with some people, she wouldn't turn into a ghost for revenge. She did insult someone yesterday, calling them heartless and ungrateful. Who do you think this person is? The maid trembled as she spoke, and Truman beside her exclaimed, Could it be Wesley? Luna took Truman to the Spring Blossom Pavilion to handle the case. This time, they were going to thoroughly investigate the murderer. Wesley was a regular customer of the deceased Mia. According to maid Elsie's description, all the evidence and the cause of the incident pointed to Wesley at that moment. Upon hearing Wesley's name, Truman couldn't help but shout out. Wesley must have been extremely unlucky to have everything go against him. As Wesley lay there, he was caught off guard. Truman mentioned Wesley's name, which surprised the 2 beautiful women nearby. Do you know him? I do know him. Before long, they found Wesley. Wesley claimed he was also innocent. Truman, is my luck really this bad? Even when I'm at home, I still run into such trouble. Luna couldn't bear to watch any longer. If it weren't for your heartlessness and fickleness, causing chaos and abandoning me, how could things have ended up like this? Suddenly, he was burdened with so many accusations. Wesley could only helplessly swear to the heavens, the conscience of the world. Clearly, it was she who caused chaos and abandoned him. After I became close with female ghost, she started avoiding me and even mocking me. Just yesterday morning, she invited me out. I suspected she was in need of money, but I already had grace in my heart, so I had the maid directly give her 100 taels of silver on my behalf. I politely declined the invitation. In this way, I considered myself to have done all I could do in good faith. Truman grasped the key issue. If she comes to see you tonight, you can explain to her. Maybe you can help cleanse her grudge. Wesley is terrified of facing female ghost. Forget it then. I will go to her grave later to explain. Upon hearing this, The female boss couldn't sit still. Wesley, Mia is scheming against you behind your back. It's true that you deserve to be taught a lesson. But you got our girl pregnant, and simply sent her away with money. That's too contemptuous. As these words were spoken, Wesley was immediately scared and collapsed to the ground. Mia is pregnant. How is that possible? Luna spoke up. The coroner at the Yamen conducted an autopsy. Mia is indeed 2 months pregnant. Wesley is determined to clear his name. I haven't met her since half a year ago, let alone had any secret rendezvous. This is absolutely impossible. The female boss was puzzled at this point. Is Elsie suggesting that Mia is involved with someone else? She can only entertain one guest at a time. If you help cover up the truth, I will punish you severely. Elsie hesitated for a while before finally blurted out. The young lady, she knows who Mia's other guest is. Subscribe now. Mia's death plunged the Ghost Country case in U-Town into a deeper mystery. Made Elsa's description falsely incriminated Wesley. After Wesley's repeated descriptions, it was discovered that there was something suspicious about the matter. After the female boss repeatedly pressured the maid with questions, she found out that the maid had lied. I lied. The baby in her belly is actually Lucas's. This statement was like a bolt from the blue, echoing in Wesley's head. Luna spoke. In that case, please ask him to come over. Lucas was found, and he first began to defend himself. This kind of woman would not get pregnant so easily. She clearly plotted against me, wanting me to marry her. Besides, later on, I gave her 1,000 taels of silver. I really did everything I could. Where does she hold such a big grudge? Luna firmly promised. Rest assured. I will protect you at the gate of the Heavenward Palace. Before Luna could finish speaking, Lucas had already grabbed Truman's thigh. I know you have great powers. You must save me. After seeing his sword, Cousin said he wouldn't leave the mountain until he reached the spirit fusion realm. He went into seclusion to cultivate. I can't let Wesley take advantage of this alone. Luna expressed her speechlessness about the situation and then said to Truman, Let me handle this time. You don't need to act yet. If he manages to defeat Vengeful Spirit with one stroke, I will have nothing left to do. I must seize the opportunity to restore my prestige. Lucas should be where Mia's grudge lies. Barring any surprises, she will transform into Vengeful Spirit tonight to seek vengeance on you. So, we will wait here to be prepared. You should have the girls stay inside the room. They must not move about casually. Finally, it's getting late. Only a few people in the room are still anxiously waiting. Lucas screamed. Truman also felt a strong energy at this moment, saying Luna was going out to take a look. Truman roughly estimated that the normal energy of a vengeful spirit could probably resist 200 lantern monsters, but this energy could resist 443 lantern monsters, slightly stronger. However, looking at her confidence, she must have a surefire win. Luna was stunned. Only an infant can be seen, surrounded by swirling red smoke. This scene is truly shocking. I saw the infant screaming in her mouth. Why has the world abandoned me? Luna suddenly realized that it was just an infant spirit still thinking about it. Luna pulled out the talisman to resist the fierce attack. I should have realized earlier. Mia ended her own life while pregnant. It's not just the mother who became a vengeful spirit. That infant is very powerful. I will make you all feel that kind of pain. Luna is holding nothing back, utilizing all of her lifelong learning. Plum Blossom sword technique. But it's terrible. Luna's sword aura, as long as it doesn't kill it, will make him even stronger. It's just that the infant is slowly healing at a visible speed. It seems to be getting stronger. Luna panicked. I can escape. But there are still so many people here to protect. It seems that I can only use the last resort. Just heard Luna shouting Truman. She didn't have time to finish. Truman is here. Be careful and be on guard. This infant spirit is different from the usual vengeful spirit. Every time it gets injured. Just heard a swoosh sound. A familiar white light flashed by. No surprises. Truman wielded his sword, solving the infant spirit problem. Luna stood there in shock once again. Luna faced the vengeful infant spirit. This time, Luna felt very tricky. So she had no choice but to call on her backer Truman. There were no surprises this time. Truman is still a master. He solved all the problems. Truman beside him still hasn't regained his senses. Every time it is injured, its strength increases. Truman's words are somewhat casual, but his words are sharp and forceful. His words hit Luna in the face repeatedly. I see. If he gets injured, he will become stronger. Then can't we just kill it with one strike? Helpless Luna could only bravely nod. You are right. When Truman was focused on hunting demons, he slashed open the infant spirit with one sword. The scene was witnessed by the young ladies from the Spring Blossom Pavilion. Now their infatuation has become even more intense. And that's how it was resolved. We haven't had enough of it yet. At this time, a loud voice appeared in the crowd. I want to have a baby with you. Suddenly Luna felt that she inexplicably had so many rivals in love. How could Luna allow Truman to linger? Do not slacken. Mia's vengeful spirit has not appeared yet. Let's return to the room and continue to keep watch. She said that, and then dragged Truman towards Mia's room. They waited all night at the Spring Blossom Pavilion. Mia's vengeful spirit had still not appeared by the next morning. Wesley next to them seemed to be sleeping soundly. Do no evil, fear no ghosts. Lucas seems to be terrified this night, forcing himself to have dark circles like a panda. Mia didn't come last night? This is not possible. Could it be that she has another lover? It seems like the case has become more mysterious. At this moment, a scream outside the door sounded. Not good. It turns out that Head Constable Cho is in trouble. He rushed up to Luna. Luna scolded, What do you look like? What's going on? At this point, Cho spoke up. A household on the west side of the town has 2 people dead. The preliminary inference is that vengeful spirit is the culprit. The deceased were a literati from the town and his mother. The 2 bodies were in a horrific state, with a strong energy lingering around them as I found out. A few days ago, the literati mentioned to his mother that he wanted to marry a girl from a brothel, but his mother disagreed. She even went as far as threatening to die. The maid Elsie spoke up again, saying that the girl did indeed know a literati named Luna, which made her angry. Do you have anything else to hide? However, Mia has always praised that literati, never saying anything negative. After being rejected by Lucas, Mia went out on her own and returned with a very bad expression. Now thinking about it, she may have gone to see that literati. Luna seems to have understood something. In other words, this literati is the last straw to save her. After she was rejected, Ghost appeared and bewitched her. Mia fell into the abyss like this. After Truman eliminated the infant spirit. Mia has not shown up yet. This has to raise suspicions. Does Mia have another lover? Just as everyone was puzzled, Cho came. It turns out that U-Town had another murder last night. That was the work of a vengeful spirit. Based on Chow's 3-hour description, Luna seems to understand the ins and outs of the case. But the most laughable thing is that Mia's most resentful towards the most innocent and honest literati. This talk has really upset the nearby Cho. Who did us honest people provoke? But this Mia is quite a character. On the surface, she is close to Wesley, but secretly in contact with Lucas. She is also friendly with another honest person. Cunning as a fox with 3 burrows, that's her. Head Constable Chow's profound and cryptic words have puzzled Lucas. What does cunning as a fox with 3 burrows mean? Wesley explained it. Are you silly? It means she has 3 different holes. The sound of a sword being unsheathed came through. Why haven't you left yet? It turned out to be Luna. She's quite imposing now. Let's go. Let's leave right away. They finally arrived at the scene of the crime. At the moment they opened the door, they saw two people lying in a pool of blood on the ground. This shocked Truman. But Truman's following question was truly even more shocking. Is there any way for Luna to make people also perceive the grudge? Such methods are all derived from the esoteric techniques of major Taoism sects like Qingyong Palace. In my Heavenward Palace Gate, covering the entire U-Town with divine perception is not a problem. This statement made Truman realize that he still has a long way to go. I really need to work even harder. Compared to those cultivators in the spirit fusion realm, I am simply like a deaf and blind person. If one day I am pierced by a flying sword hundreds of miles away, I wouldn't even know what happened. Luna said, "After today's matter is settled, I will go to report to the sect and invite a sage to sit in here. This way, as soon as the ghost appears, it will be discovered and eliminated at once." Luna started gesturing on the ground. Not to mention, this gossip map does look quite similar. It looks pretty genuine. Truman nearby felt even more curious at this moment. Sage Luna doesn't care about all that. She is outstanding, a once-in-a-century talent. She only wants sect to restore the prestige of Heavenward Palace Gate. The appearance of a tiny infant spirit. It makes Truman and the others instantly realize that Mia's vengeful spirit is not at the Spring Blossom Pavilion. So the two rush to the literati's house. Once again, they set up an ambush. Luna laid out a trap, waiting patiently for the fish to take the bait. Night quickly fell. It was destined to be sleepless tonight. Around midnight, the door slowly opened. A faint green smoke drifted in. Following behind was a small vengeful spirit. It looks like they're long sought after Mia. As she approached the door, the small vengeful spirit pushed open two doors with a quick brush. She widened her cow-like eyes, with two small pigtails. Although there were clearly two people present, she insisted, "Will you marry me?" If not, Truman is not surprised. Luna quickly offered a plan, holding back the grudge. Now the vengeful spirit is truly angered. "Do you think I'm dirty?" Of course, after all, it's a case of the pot calling the kettle black. Like a bolt from the blue. Even vengeful spirit couldn't help but gasp in disbelief. It's clear that this little vengeful spirit was caught off guard. She revealed her true colors all of a sudden. She let out a roar at Truman. Truman remained calm. You see, she's getting anxious. He turned his head and found Luna had disappeared without a trace. He seems to be even more anxious now. She is willing to do whatever it takes to restore the sect's reputation. Truman turned his head again. Luna had already engaged in a fierce fight with the small vengeful spirit. This time, Luna used all her skills. Great plum blossom sword formation. There was a loud clanging sound on the battlefield. Then came another round. Banknotes scattered and flew everywhere at the fighting scene. This scared Truman beside into exclaiming, "Is this the legendary power of money manipulation?" Just as the banknotes fell next to vengeful spirit, the sky lit up like fireworks, dazzling and bright. If you didn't know any better, you would think someone was celebrating. Look at vengeful spirit again. She slowly began to fade away. Luna finally stood up for sect. Although it cost me a lot of savings. But Truman must have a newfound respect for me. If I want to exorcise evil, I still have to rely on my Heavenward Palace Gate. But Truman's focus is always so unpredictable. Heavenward Palace Gate deserves to be called an immortal sect in the mortal world. She casually creates a pile of precious items with just a flick of her hand. They arrived at Spring Blossom Pavilion and must inform the female boss for your peace of mind. Mia Vengeful Spirit has been eliminated. Thank you both for saving our lives. Luna is very excited. She wants to seize this opportunity to boost the reputation of Heavenward Palace Gate. In the future, just look for us at Heavenward Palace Gate for anything. But the female boss's next move is simply too insulting. No problem. Truman is at the Yuan Taoist Temple, right? Truman casually replied. Yes. Female boss takes 3 steps, but only covers 2 steps worth of ground. She is only 0.01 centimeters away from Truman. If Truman doesn't want to work hard in the future, he can come to me. But Truman, he just needs to write, straight on his face in big letters. Steel cannot even look down on him. If I don't work hard, then how can I protect myself in the hands of Ghost? The atmosphere on the scene suddenly became quiet. Later, they said goodbye to each other. Truman left. I can guarantee such a straight steel man you have never seen before. Facing the rich lady female boss at Spring Blossom Pavilion. As long as Truman agrees with a single word. Is there a need for him to grind Lantern Monster? Truman, however, wants to try hard on his own. So they bid farewell. But Truman has an even more important task ahead. That is to improve his perception ability before that. Truman was at a bookstore, where he picked up a very practical book called Learn Iron Shirt in 30 Days Secret Manual. He also plans to try his luck there tomorrow. The next day, he came to the bookstore. Is there a way to improve perception ability? Has Truman successfully mastered the Iron Shirt from last time? He has made some progress. The boss suddenly became dumbfounded. This unwanted secret manual can actually be mastered by someone. He then handed Truman a copy of Spiritual Perception, From Entry to Mastery. This is a renowned masterpiece among sword masters. He innovated spiritual perception, being able to sense one's aura solely through thoughts. This senior's cultivation achievement is astonishing. His swordsmanship is exceptional. What's even more remarkable is that he is blind. Truman was stunned by how a blind person could become a sword master. The boss continued, a secret manual of this level will not be widely circulated. However, this senior has a great reputation for integrity. For the benefit of the entire martial arts world, he has decided to widely spread this technique and make a grand vow. He wants to help more people break free from physical constraints and turn all blind people in the world into sword masters. Truman immediately decided to buy the secret manual. The boss initially stocked up a whole box of secret manuals for cheap. Now he can finally get rid of them. He was very excited to get the secret manual Truman. He immediately found a treasure trove, sat cross-legged, and began cultivating. The principle of spiritual perception doesn't seem too complicated after all. The world seen by the heart eye is the no world, with different forms and colors. This no world can reflect the race, state, and emotions of the spirit's original beings. Colors seen by ordinary people are mainly blue and red, representing the yin and yang within the body. Occasionally drifting black energy represents a person's negative emotions. When this energy intertwines, there is a possibility of being possessed by a ghost. Truman has finally finished reading it. This technique is extremely difficult to cultivate, requiring both talent and time. Many people spend their whole lives without finding the right method. But Truman is a genius. He finished the high school textbooks in less than a year. He only took an afternoon to learn Iron Shirt. He started cultivating as soon as he spoke. He seemed to have fallen asleep, but his consciousness became clearer. The feeling of sleepiness and hunger disappeared completely. Is this the no world? Watching Truman, there is a feeling of out-of-body experience. He suddenly rose to the sky above the roof, only to see the town in the distance. A man cried and pounded the wall hard. Why did Ginny abandon me? Am I too weak? A dark shadow nearby spoke. Do you desire power? The man was so frightened that he collapsed on the ground immediately. At this point, the dark shadow directly revealed itself. No more pretending. Indeed, it looked terrifying with disheveled hair. Then it said to the man, let's make a deal. He can buy the martial arts secret manual for 10 gold coins. Truman made a big profit this time. In order to improve his perception ability, Truman cultivates day and night without stopping. Just at the moment when he flew onto the roof, a scene in the distant town stunned him. The man was so scared that he stood trembling in the corner shouting, Are you a man or a ghost? I saw a woman instantly move behind the man. Is it important whether she's a human or a ghost? I saw a familiar copper coin appear before us. The woman said, This is the Hell Passage coin that appeared before. Holding it, you can possess terrifying power. Make all the people you hate pay the price in blood. This has tempted the man. He thought of his weak self. He constantly craved power. Then a horrible scene happened. The female ghost said, "As long as you are willing to give me your life, I can make this unfair world tremble for you." The man's heart was already consumed by resentment. "Yes. I want them to pay the price. I want them all to die." He thought of the past again. "In this world, no one loves you more than I do, Jenny. How could you betray me and marry that old man? He's poor and ugly. What makes you think you can marry me? Don't come looking for me again in the future. I'm afraid my husband will misunderstand." I am so full of hatred. Love was ultimately defeated by reality. Coming to my senses, the man hurriedly reached for the copper coin, wanting to become stronger. "I want to make them all pay the price. I agree to your request." Just as the female ghost was about to succeed, a familiar voice sounded. "I disagree." The figure was obvious. It was Truman. Handsome Truman appeared. The man was mesmerized by Truman at the moment. "If I looked like this, maybe Jenny wouldn't have left. If I looked this handsome, I wouldn't have to." The man really came to his senses. That ghostly little Taoist is just asking for trouble. She was still in a daze. It seems that she suddenly understood something. Couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Could it be that this is the Taoist who sweeps away the ghost tower? The female ghost can only muster up the courage to approach. Once she clarifies, "Have you ever been to the Ghost Tower Castle?" She becomes quite familiar with it. "I have been there more than once." Upon hearing this, female ghost was utterly stunned. Another familiar white light appeared. Truman still wanted to solve her with one sword. Truman then hurriedly asked her, "Do you happen to know the ghost inside?" After confirming the identity, that female ghost was really scared. How could she escape Truman's sword energy? Accompanied by a huge roar, a white light poured out from the door frame. The female ghost could only leave her last words. She was just unlucky and ran into Truman. Then, in front of everyone's eyes, she dissipated into the air. Truman also discovered the copper coin on the ground. Indeed, behind the ghost tower involves the influence of the ghost country in the mortal world. It seems like things are not going to end so simply.